You're listening to Rotten Radio, and right now joining us on the phone is Josh Eppard, a.k.a. Weerd Science. What's going on, man?
Not too much. How are you, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. Now, right now you're working in the studio on your follow-up to Friends and Nervous Breakdowns called Sick Kids. How's the new record coming along?
It's coming along, perfect. Honestly, it's been, we're almost not, I wouldn't say done, but a lot of the skeletal, we have the core songs are there. And, we got so much material that didn't make it on Friends and Nervous Breakdowns. We kind of reworked some of that. But I think, I'm most excited about the absolutely new material, brand new, fresh ideas. And, I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but, I couldn't be more psyched. We got a lot of people on the record with us. We got some of the guys from P-Funk are on it with us. And a lot of great musicians, a lot of great rock musicians. My brother's in a band called 3. They have a record out on Metal Blade. Some of those guys are playing on it. And it's been really fun and really probably the most fun I've ever had making a record and really satisfying. I couldn't be more psyched. So.
Oh, cool. Now, on your last record, you really didn't get into features. Is that something you plan on doing with Sick Kids?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The last record was really just, I never thought anybody would want to put out, a record about some of the subject matter, was pretty funny. And it was something I've been doing since I was 11 years old, but certain labels, Equal Vision stepped to me and they wanted to put it out. And I was always doing hip hop. I'd get home from tour and we'd go right into the studio because it wasn't work, it's fun. And it was really just kind of a compilation of songs we had recorded over, the course of like 5-6 years. And it wasn't, like this is a record, it's not a concept record, but it's more of a record front to back, whereas that to me is just a lot of songs kind of put together on an album, if that makes any sense.
Is it going to be similar in sound to Friends and Nervous Breakdowns, or is it going to be a little bit different? Like, how's the sound of the actual record going to compare to the last album?
Well, it's certainly, I would say it's definitely a lot more musical. A lot more real instruments. I'm playing drums on almost everything, which is, I've always wanted to do that. It was just a matter of time. With Friends and Nervous Breakdowns, I wasn't even there for the mix. And, I think those guys did a good job. Mike and Chris Bittner, who also, they did produce the first 3 Coheed records. And I think they produced and mixed it, and I think they did a good job. But it was a little clean sounding for me, and a lot of the rough tracks were much dirtier. And by the time I heard it, it was I was in Europe, and it was kind of like I had my balls to the wall, so to speak. There was nothing I could do. So this one definitely, it's a little more. I think it's pushing the sonic envelope as well as the material is. It's not your run-of-the-mill material, and it's in that aspect it's different. That it's a little more earthy, a lot more guitars. A lot more samples, lots more, cuts from records and stuff like that. So it's definitely more of the original vision that I wanted Weerd Science to be, as opposed to Friends and Nervous Breakdowns. So,
for some of our listeners who might not be familiar with yourself as an artist and Weerd Science, how would you describe Weerd Science to somebody that's never heard you before?
Obviously, it's hip hop. No more, no less. But, I think that what we try to bring to it is, I think that, especially with the people involved, I've always worked with the same people and they're very musical. We all play every instrument. So I like to think that it's a lot more musical than certainly a lot of the hip hop that I enjoy and listen to. But we're trying to be, I think, without trying too hard, I think just naturally it tends to kind of go in that direction and be more musical. But I would just describe it as, freaky white boy hip hop, about shit that I go through in my life. So, and, I know that people can relate to it because I've gone through it and my friends go through it. And we just try to, throw down real shit that people can kind of relate to and get out, whatever our inner demons are that day. So if that makes any sense, dude, I don't even know how to describe it, but, it's hip hop.
No, it definitely makes sense to me. I know a lot of the music we play here on the show is actually a little bit off color. You know what I mean?
That's a good term. It's definitely off color. I'm going to use that from now on.
Now, where does the name Weerd Science actually come from?
Well, I was in this group. We had like a small little deal when I was 18 with a local label in upstate New York. It was called Newborn. It was me, and my name at the time was Little J. And I was rapping with a guy named Bobby Delicious, who's still making records, and dope records, and he's on the new record as well, the new Weerd Science record. And I was working at this company, and this guy really liked it. He really liked Newborn a lot, and he said, "You're always talking about Star Wars and stuff. You should call yourself Weerd Science." And he was making a joke. And the next day, I changed my name. And so half the Newborn records that came out, I'm Little J, and half of them I'm Weerd Science. So people for a long time thought it was 2 different people. not that I switched my style up or anything, but since like the print on the record, one was Little J and the other was Weerd Science, it confused a lot of people, but it just rang. Something resonated with me about the name, and I dug it. I thought it was a cool name.
Now, you used to play drums for 3 and Coheed. Was it difficult going from the drum kit to being an MC, or was it something?
No, I think kind of, as an MC and as a musician, I think you evolve every day. You learn something every day, and it was happening both at the same time. So it was never like making the switch. Right now I'm playing more drums than I am. I'm definitely, at the height of my drumming career right now. I'm doing things I never would have thought possible in Coheed and Cambria. So I think just they both evolved kind of very organically and on their own, and it was never like when I grab the mic and I'm up in front, I feel right at home. When I sit down behind the kit, I'm right at home. When I sit down behind, the piano, I'm right at home. So it all just kind of evolved together. I never really looked at it as a separate thing. It's all part of one kind of entity that I think, most good musicians I know do play a lot of instruments. I mean, it's hard to just, harness your energy with one instrument, especially the drums and I love playing the drums, but you can't, there's no melodies really. So I got into playing piano, and obviously I got better, and I was always rhyming. I think, I was rhyming since I was 11 and playing drums since I was 11. So it's never been hard, to answer your question. No, it's never been hard to make the switch. There's not really a switch to me going on at all. It's just all part of one kind of thing.
With your music, it varies from track to track as to what the subject matter is, and sometimes there's some hitting meaning in there and whatnot. Is it tough for you to keep those concepts fresh?
Definitely. I think that's the hardest thing. I could sit down and write a record about nothing, just diabolical verses with big words all day. What I really like to do, and I think what is pushing the envelope, and I hear it even in popular rap music and certainly in the underground, is to write songs about something. That's hard to do, to keep your brain focused on this one thing. The song is about something, so you can't just say, I drop a diabolical verse in a session. I mean, it has nothing to do with the story. So there's a lot more of that on this record. No, there's a lot of that on Friends and Nervous Breakdowns too, but that's definitely something that I, as an artist, am way into, and I think conceptually it's a lot more rewarding for me and for the listener. So, but it's not easy. I think that's probably the most challenging thing, is to just stay focused and then not go off on these 16-bar rants that, at the end of the day, really have nothing to do with the actual subject matter of the song. So,
now this year is actually over in just a couple of days. Other than Sick Kids, what do you have lined up for 2008?
Oh my God, all kinds of stuff. Well, obviously we're going to release the record, and it'll be in stores everywhere. And hopefully this time it'll get, it'll be in the right spots. It's got to be in the hip hop section. There won't be, I understand how the Coheed thing kind of mucked it up a little bit, but it seems like a pretty easy problem to remedy, and then it wasn't. We ran into like brick walls just trying to get it put in the right section. I didn't understand why everybody was filing it either under new rock music, which it isn't, and also under Coheed and Cambria, and it was just impossible to get them to file it right. This time it'll get done right. We're going to make sure of it. So, I mean, obviously that's the big thing this year. I'm playing drums on a couple records, a lot of major label records, and I don't even know if I'm allowed to say. So I'm doing some stuff with some of the guys that used to work with the Bad Brains. There's kind of this rock group thing that they're doing. And I'm just going to go play in the studio on it. I don't think I'm going to tour with it, because we're going to be touring most of 2008 on Sick Kids. And, that's something that we never got to do with Friends and Nervous Breakdowns. And we did as much touring as we could, but I was gone, 9 months out of the year. So we do these like kind of 2-week stints with Weerd Science, and then I'd come home and go right back out with Coheed. And another time I went out with 3, I went to Japan with them because they, the drummer couldn't get into Japan for whatever reason. So this time we're going to really be able to tour on it, and we're going to be hitting the road nonstop. So, I mean, when we come to your town, stock up on canned food and porno, because we're coming through.
Well, I'll definitely be out there supporting. I know last time you guys played Rhode Island, I missed it, so I'll definitely have to.
We did some wacky tours, man. We went out with Bane, who are awesome, the nicest guys in the world, and they said, we got to take Weerd Science out, and that was probably the most fun and the most successful tour. I mean, we just killed it. We toured with Gym Class Heroes too. Believe it or not, they opened up for us just like 2 years ago, and now I know they're huge and enormous. We will be on the road nonstop, and we're looking forward to it. And I think people are really going to get the new record. It's a much more clear vision of what we're trying to do, and it's fucking awesome.
Nice. Now, I actually like to ask this question to people whenever I interview them if they've toured a lot, and because you've probably toured more than anyone we've ever had on the show before.
Word.
What's the craziest thing you've run into on the road?
My parents might hear this one day. I don't know if it's for anybody else's ears, but I've seen some out there shit, man. Especially in Europe. I guess in general, the craziest thing you run into on the road is just people. You know, especially on like van tours. You know, early on with Coheed, we would meet these people and just not necessarily always like street people, but just these characters in the street. And that, you know, I could fill 10 books with the stories just of people that I met and just the crazy shit that I've seen go down. So it's hard to really pinpoint one story, but it would probably, if I did pinpoint one story, it would probably be in Amsterdam, and it would probably be so disgusting that people would turn off the radio. So I don't want to, I'm not going to go there.
All right. So now, if somebody wants to go pick up Friends and Nervous Breakdowns, or they want to get Sick Kids when it comes out, and maybe they can't find it at their local store because, like you said, it's filed under Coheed or something like that, or maybe it's in...
plus we're in between distributors, too, which has been tough. I mean, Friends and Nervous Breakdowns I'm not kidding, man, it ran into every problem that you could run into, every brick wall, and we still got the record out there. And like I said, it was so tough because I was so busy, you know, with Coheed at the time. I mean, you can get it, you know, you can go to the stores. If it's not in the store, you can order it, you know, and they'll get it in the store. But for the most part, it's usually there, and it's usually somewhere where the clerk doesn't know. So tell him to do his job and find the record. That's what they're there for.
Do you have a website that someone could go to and get it if they can't find it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, of course, well, you can go to WeirdScience.com, or you can go on MySpace and just click or check for Weird Science, and you can get the record off MySpace and WeirdScience.com. Especially with Sick Kids. We actually just put up a new song off of Sick Kids. It's been a pretty rough form. It's not mixed. It's not done, but we were so psyched on it. We wanted to give the fans who've stuck by me, and, you know, I took a year hiatus, and they're still there, and they're still excited about Weird Science, and I love them all for it. So we put up a free song, so you can check that out. That's up for free right now. Obviously, you can order the old record, and as soon as Sick Kid drops, and we're trying to work out something with the new distributor that maybe we're going to do a special edition when Sick Kids is done in early 2008, a special edition. If you do order it online, it might have a couple extra songs, or we're even thinking about making a little DVD of the making of the record. We've been filming everything, but we'll see what transpires. But yeah, you can definitely get it off the website or go to the store and demand it. So
excellent. Well, Josh, thanks for taking the time out to talk to us here at Rotten Radio. I know you're a real busy guy. Do you want to intro a track before we let you go here?
Yeah, sure. Let's do the Dear Sam, I'm Dead. You wait till you hear the new, I mean, the version now, the version that's up on MySpace, there's no rubs on it, and the rubs, and there's like a couple really cool samples, and it's really just, that song is way better than it, like, that's truly a rough version, but definitely, you know, we wouldn't have put it up if we didn't want people to hear it. I think it's awesome that you guys are playing it, but wait till you hear it done. It's so much fatter. Oh, it's amazing. But this is Weird Science. You're listening to Rotten Radio. This is the new song, Dear Sam, I'm Dead to You, and it's fucking awesome.